Welcome back to Dimebag Darren World Headquarters here. Well, here in the corner of my living room is where it all happens. But this time, we're live on the Omnivox channel with Omnivox Story Time. Read by Dimebag, and that's me. And still, we're on my very favorite book. And we are getting into the second story in the book, which is super cool. This is the Foundation Trilogy. We are reading Foundation, okay? The first part of the Foundation story is the Psychohistorians. That's book 1, chapter 1. But we are past book 1 now. And we are on to book 2, the Encyclopedists. Once again, it begins with a quote from the Encyclopedia Galactica. The Encyclopedists, Chapter 1, Terminus. Its location, see map, was an odd one, for the role was called upon to play in galactic history, and yet, as many writers have never tired of pointing out, an inevitable one. Located on the very fringe of the galactic spiral, an only planet of an isolated sun, poor in resources and negligible in economic value, it was never settled in the 5 centuries after its discovery, until the landing of the Encyclopedists. It was inevitable as a new generation grew, Terminus would become something more than an appendage. It was inevitable as the new generations grew, Terminus would become something more than an appendage of the psychohistorians of Trantor. With the Anacrean Revolt and the rise to power of Salvor Hardin, the first of the great line of, and it goes on, Encyclopedia Galactica. Louis Perrin was busily engaged at his desk in the one well-lit corner of the room. Work had to be coordinated. Effort had to be organized. Threads had to be woven into a pattern. 50 years now. 50 years to establish themselves and set up the Encyclopedia Foundation number 1 into a smooth working unit. 50 years to gather the raw material. 50 years to prepare. It had been done. 5 more years would see the publication of the first volume of the most monumental work the galaxy had ever conceived. And then, at 10-year intervals, regularly like clockwork, volume after volume. And with them, there would be supplements, special articles, events of current interest, until... Perrin stirred uneasily as the muted buzzer upon his desk muttered peevishly. He'd almost forgotten the appointment. He shoved the door release and out of an abstracted corner of one eye saw the door open, and the broad figure of Salvor Hardin entered. Perrin didn't look up. Hardin smiled to himself. He was in a hurry, but he knew better than to take offense at Perrin's cavalier treatment of anything or anyone that disturbed him at his work. He buried himself in the chair on the other side of the desk and waited. Perrin's stylus made the faintest scraping sound as it raced across paper. Otherwise, neither motion nor sound. And then Hardin withdrew a 2-credit coin from his vest pocket. He flipped it, and its stainless steel surface caught flitters of light as it tumbled through the air. He caught it and flipped it again, watching the flashing reflections lazily. Stainless steel made good medium of exchange on a planet where all metal had to be imported. Perrin looked up and blinked. "Stop that," he said querulously. "Eh? That infernal coin tossing. Stop it." "Oh." Hardin pocketed the metal disc. "Tell me when you're ready, will you? I promised I'd be back at the city council meeting before the aqueduct project is put to a vote." Perrin sighed and shoved himself away from the desk. "I'm ready, but you're not going to bother me about city affairs. Take care of that yourself, please. The encyclopedia takes up all my time." "Have you heard the news?" questioned Hardin phlegmatically. What news? The news that the Terminus City Ultrawave set received 2 hours ago. The royal governor of the prefect of Anacreon has assumed the title of king. Oh, well, what of it? It means we're cut off from the inner regions of the empire. We've been expecting this, but that doesn't make it any more comfortable. Anacreon stands square across what was our last remaining trade route to Santani, and to Trantor, and to Vega itself. Where's our metal supposed to come from? We haven't managed to get a steel or aluminum shipment through in 6 months, and now we won't be able to get any at all, except by the grace of the king of Anacreon. Get it through him, then. But can we? Listen, Perrin. According to the charter which established this foundation, the Board of Trustees of the Encyclopedia Committee has been given full administrative powers. I, as the mayor of Terminus City, have just enough power to blow my own nose, and perhaps to sneeze if you countersign an order giving me permission. It's up to you and your board, then. I'm asking you in the name of the city, whose prosperity depends upon uninterrupted commerce with the galaxy, to call an emergency meeting. Stop. A campaign speech is out of order. Now, Hardin, the Board of Trustees has not barred the establishment of a municipal government on Terminus. We understand one to be necessary because of the increase in population since the Foundation was established 50 years ago, and because of the increasing number of people involved in non-encyclopedia affairs. But that does not mean that the first and only aim of the Foundation is no longer to publish the definitive encyclopedia of all human knowledge. We are a state-supported, scientific institution, Hardin. We cannot, we must not, and we will not interfere in local governments and politics. Local politics? By the Emperor's big toe, Perrin. This is a matter of life and death. The planet Terminus itself cannot support a mechanized civilization. We lack metals, you know that. It hasn't a trace of iron, copper, or aluminum in the surface rocks, and precious little of anything else. What do you think will happen to the encyclopedia if the whatchamacallit King of Anacreon clamps down on us? On us? Are you forgetting that we're under the direct control of the Emperor himself? We are not part of the prefect of Anacreon, or of any other prefect. Memorize that. We are part of the Emperor's personal domain, and no one touches us. The Empire can protect its own. Then why didn't it prevent the royal governor of Anacreon from kicking over the traces? And only Anacreon? At least 20 of the outermost prefects of the galaxy, the entire periphery as a matter of fact, have begun steering things their own way. I tell you, I feel darned uncertain of the Empire and its ability to protect us. Hokum. Royal governors, kings, what's the difference? The Empire is always shot through with a certain amount of politics, and with different men pulling this way and that. Governors have rebelled, and for that matter, emperors have been deposed or assassinated before this. But what has that got to do with the Empire itself? Forget it, Hardin. It's none of our business. We are first of all and last of all scientists, and our concern is the encyclopedia. Oh yes, I'd almost forgotten, Hardin. Well, do something about that paper of yours. Perrin's voice was angry. The Terminus City Journal? It isn't mine, it's privately owned. What's it been doing? For weeks now, it's been recommending that the 50th anniversary of the establishment of the Foundation be made an occasion for public holiday and quite inappropriate celebrations. And why not? The radium clock will open the first vault in 3 months. I would call this a big occasion, wouldn't you? Not for silly pageantry, Hardin. The first vault and its opening concerns the Board of Trustees alone. Anything of importance will be communicated to the people. This is final, and please make it plain to the journal. I'm sorry, Perrin, but the city charter guarantees a certain minor matter known as the freedom of the press. It may, but the Board of Trustees does not. I am the Emperor's representative on Terminus, Hardin, and have full power in this respect. Hardin's expression became that of a man counting to 10 mentally. He said grimly, "In connection with your status as the Emperor's representative, then, I have a final piece of news to give you." "About Anacreon?" Perrin's lips tightened. He felt annoyed. "Yes. A special envoy will be sent to us from Anacreon in 2 weeks." "An envoy here? From Anacreon?" Perrin chewed that. "What for?" Hardin stood up, shoved his chair back up against the desk. "I give you one guess." And he left, quite unceremoniously. And that ends Chapter 1, Book 2. In our read, we'll be back with Chapter 2 soon enough. I hope you're enjoying it. Thank you for listening.